to go.
You and me, a dream team.
Very good choice, my friend. Let's go for the title defense.
Races, 3 winners and 8 different drivers on the podium. Welcome to the 4th round of the DTM 2013 here today at the beautiful Lausitzring. And well, BMW came here as a leader of all standings, but yesterday in the qualifying it was some kind of a rebirth of the Silver Stars. So we are looking forward to an impressive and thrilling race. Please enjoy it now because we have all the highlights for you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Eve. Well, the 4th race weekend of the 2013 season took the drivers and teams to the Lausitz area. The Euro Speedway in the east of Germany is not directly adjacent to one of the regions devastated by flooding recently, but the catastrophe suffered by the folk in neighbouring areas had not left the DTM drivers untouched. Timo Scheider, Timo Glock and Christian Vitoris joined the ITR Deputy Chairman Dr. Thomas Betzler in Meissen on Friday to hand over donations from the DTM for 3 of the East German cities affected by the floods. In a ceremony in Meissen, the team representative passed cheques for €100,000 each to the mayors of Meissen, Pirna and Hertzberg. As for the events on the track, in Lausitz, Championship leader Bruno Spengler was aiming to maintain or extend his advantage. His current closest rival in the overall standings is Audi's Mike Rockenfeller. So let's check out the track here in Lausitz. Unusual because it is anti-clockwise, also unusual because it uses part of the famous tri-oval originally built for the Champ car races back at the start of 2000. So off they go to the first very tight second gear corner as they come off the tri-oval. This is a very tight corner, particularly on the opening laps. Then they wiggle right and then left, and effectively they're cutting off the turn 1 of the tri-oval, and then just here, long left-hander, they rejoin the tri-oval, coming out very close to the wall, then along a little bit of that oval circuit, again down to second gear, and this long left-hander, which then immediately switches into a faster right-hander, and then the second fastest part of the course. But again, at the end of this is another tight corner, right back down the gearbox again, going through that left-hander. Again, weaving through the infield section. The spectators of the main grandstand can see every bit of this track, down to another pair of second gear corners, which brings them back onto the tri-oval just before turn number 3. Here they are up onto the banking again, once again very close to the wall, fastest part of the circuit, using the DRS system now to take them down past the pits, and that is a lap of the Lausitzring. Circuit, 3.478 kilometres long in this configuration. We'll be having 52 laps around here, 180 kilometres. Look at the smiles on Gary Paffett and Christian Vitoris filling the front row of the grid. Yes, Mercedes definitely back here. And Vitoris it was who claimed his first ever pole position and celebrated like that.
It's a big release for me, myself, and especially for the team. They had a really hard time as well. Yeah, it's just a very big release, and we're all looking forward to tomorrow.
Gary Paffett here, locking up. Made that little mistake, lost him the pole position, but had been mega quick in Q3. He was very happy indeed with the car.
It's a big change, yeah. I mean, probably unexpected. I mean, you're always trying the best to improve the car, and I think we had a pretty bad very bad qualifying at Brands Hatch, and had to make some big improvements. At Spielberg, the car was a bit better in qualifying, but today it's just a complete transformation. You know, the car was really fast.
So Mercedes won too, but in third place it was Jamie Green, moved to Audi in the closed season, and this by far his best performance for the Ingolstadt team.
Yeah, I'm really satisfied because we've had a difficult first 3 races, and to get the car working now in a way where I feel comfortable and to not have any problems through free practice with penalties or whatever. So this week this feels like a fresh start, which is what we needed, and it's really nice to get a decent result under my belt with Audi.
In total, 5 Mercedes-Benz drivers in the top 10. A good day for Mercedes. Here's Vitoris again.
I think we had a tendency in Spielberg already to show a little bit more pace on the Saturday, and today we showed that we improved again, and I think the direction we took is the right one.
Well, during the most recent race 2 weeks ago at Spielberg, BMW had finished 1, 2, 3, but it was a very different story here at the Lausitz. Spengler only in 5th place.
I cannot be really satisfied with the 5th place. The result is all right, but we struggled a little bit in free practice this morning to get the car together. But the team, did a great job to improve from free practice to qualifying, and even in that short time, they could do some reasonable steps.
Yeah, there's the BMW of Augusto Farfus from Brazil, qualified 10th, but there had been a problem with his tyres. He used the wrong tyres apparently in practice, got another penalty 5 places further down the grid. So here we are, Vitoris and Paffett for Mercedes 1-2, Jamie Green, Rob Wickens in the top 4 again for a second time. Bruno Spengler, the best of the BMWs, going through the field. There's Dirk Werner, and look how many of the BMWs are near the end, and also poor qualifying from Timo Scheider and Matthias Ekstrom. Let's hear now from Jens Marquardt.
Overall, I think we cannot be happy with the result, but it just shows that in DTM really all 3 manufacturers are close together, and from weekend to weekend you have to get everything really spot on to have a good result. Still, tomorrow the race is a long race with strategy and everything. I think we can still manage some good points.
So Mercedes-Benz very much back and looking for their first DTM win since Jamie Green triumphed at the Lausitzring in 2012.
BMW Hospitality together with Timo Glock. Timo, good to see you again. And let's talk a little bit about the qualifying yesterday. What happened?
Yeah, I just came out of the pits, and Daniel Juncker came on a flying lap, and they told me the track is clear, and turned into turn 2, and then I looked in the mirror and I saw this white and red Mercedes pretty clear in my mirror, and I just blocked him a bit, and they put me back at the end 3 places. So totally right, the decision by the stewards and the mistake by us. So now we need to start a bit further back and try to get it right in the race.
But for sure, you love to remember 2 weeks ago, your fabulous race at the Red Bull Ring. You finished on podium. Someone counted, I have to mention it, 1,344 days after your last podium. How does it feel? This must be a great motivation for this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we showed that we had a good pace in the race in Austria, but I think today it can be a bit of a more of a struggle to go into the points even, because the car balance was not that great, and the car is still tricky to drive, especially over the bumps here. And unfortunately, you can't make any changes to the setup, so we just try to make the best out of it and see where we can get to.
Are you a little bit surprised about this perfect performance of Mercedes this weekend?
Yeah, I mean they seem to be strong every time when the track is bumpy, and for some reason this time we struggle a bit more. I think BMW was pretty strong last year here, but yeah, it changed a bit and they improved. So good to see them back at the front. But you know we want to fight against them and beat them at the end again. So we need to see what we can do and get the best result for BMW today.
But perhaps you think positive, because remembering Dirk Werner, he started at Hockenheim at P20, finished second, so everything is open for today?
It's still, yeah, the possibility is there, but yeah, I have my doubts a bit in terms of, as I said, in terms of the car behavior. I think we are not in perfect shape here, but you never know.
Yeah, a bright and breezy day at the Lausitzring, and a big crowd packed into this incredible circuit. There you see the grandstands. This place will hold the best part of 120,000 people. National anthems ringing out, parachuting in. Quite an atmosphere here. That apparently is a man called Eberhard Genger. Well, there's a man not happy, Martin Tomczyk. He will start right at the back of the grid in 22nd position. Tomczyk gets ready. In fact, there was 3 former champions right near the back. Here's another of them, Mattias Ekström from Sweden. 18th starting place for the twice DTM champion. He was going to go on a unusual tyre strategy, hope that would pull him up through the grid. Now Timo Glock, brilliant third in the previous race, but he was also suffering from the BMW problems, and he was also near the back. Climbing aboard, Timo Scheider qualified 16th. Like Ekström, a 2-time DTM champion, but seems to be struggling these past couple of years. And Farfus, we talked about him, that mistake with the tyres from the team, which is pretty unusual for BMW to make a mistake like that.
Christian, it's your personal best result for the qualifying year at pole position. How is your feeling? Will we see your breakthrough today in DTM?
Well, obviously it's a very nice starting position. It's my best qualifying result so far. A nice view, clean track in front of me, so I hope that I can use it at the start, stay in front, and then hopefully we can have a good race.
Let's check out the top 10. Climbing aboard Pascal Wehrlein, the former Formula 3 driver, elevated the team just before the start of the season when Ralf Schumacher decided not to continue, and he had qualified in an excellent 10th place. 1 spot ahead of him, the Spanish driver Roberto Merri, now in his 2nd season of the DTM. Yeah, Merri only has a single point so far this season. Edo Mortara then, the Audi man, starting from 8th, failed to score any points in the last 3 races. So let's see what he can do here at the Lausitz. Adrien Tambay, the young Frenchman, looking pretty good in P7. There's Tambay, son of the former Ferrari driver Patrick. And once again, Mike Rockenfeller was one of the quickest Audis. There he is, the man currently lying in 2nd place in the championship. Rocky looking calm and collected, already had a win this season.
Dieter, we are right in front of the car of Jamie Green. Did he arrive now in the Audi family with his great position here?
Yes, I think he did. I mean, finally he had a normal race weekend, and he showed us yesterday in the qualifying what he's able to do if he has a normal race weekend and everything goes to plan. So I hope he can build up on it and maybe get a little bit more further forward.
We'll see what's going on with the 4 Audis in the top 8. And it's also Jens Marquardt with me, having a BMW with Bruno Spengler at the back. You said at Hockenheim that we won't see any favorite for the 9 races of the season, so until the end of the season. Who's your favorite today?
Well, it's pretty obvious that who starts up front is the direct favorite, but I think we have 52 laps to go, and for sure we will all do our best to not make it a boring one. And I was hoping for rain, that didn't come. Now I hope for hot sun, so that the option tire has a real hard life and we see some proper strategies.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what a proper strategy might be for Bruno Spengler. Quite a mix of different strategies there. We see Spengler not starting on the option tyres. Most of the cars around him were on the options, but Robert Wickens also decided to start on the standard rubber. But the other quick Mercedes drivers were all going for the options. The big question mark, nobody knew how would they last. What would it like to make a start on them? Nobody had even been able to try that. There, Jamie Green. And of course, Jamie looking forward to the Norris Ring in a month's time, where he is absolutely the master. But how will he go around there in an Audi? How will he go around here in an Audi? Gary Paffett then, so confident with the car, was so quick in Q3, actually 0.4 of a second faster than anyone else. But how would the strategy pay out for him? Starting on the faster tyres, and there Christian Vitoris on the pole position for the first time. Could he soak up the pressure? Let's check out that grid again in animated form. Vitoris and Paffett making it that Mercedes-Benz 1-2. Behind them, Jamie Green for Audi and Rob Wickens, the Canadian, really finding speed in his second season of the DTM. Then Bruno Spengler, the reigning champion, and Mike Rockenfeller, currently second in the championship. Indeed, that pair, first and second in the title chase. Then it's Adrian Tambe and Edo Mortara, 2 of the young guns. And then completing the top 10, Roberto Merri, making a funny face at the camera, and Pascal Wehrlein in the colours of the Stuttgart football team there. Dirk Werner and Felipe Albuquerque start 11th and 12th. Behind them, Danny Juncadella, the Spanish Formula 3 champion, and Miguel Molina. Farfus with that penalty back in 15th, Timo Scheider struggling, and he doesn't really know why, in 16th. Then Timo Glock, the man from Formula 1, and Matthias Ekstrom. He was going to try a different strategy. Marco Wittmann and Joey Hahn, the Californian. He was suffering from BMW problems, and more BMWs in trouble. Andy Prio and Martin Tomczyk. So the fans are ready. The race director is ready. There is Mr. Marquardt. Remember, it was here a year ago when BMW got their breakthrough victory. Dr. Ulrich also getting ready for Le Mans in just a week's time. Lights go out, and it's a blinding start from Gary Paffett. But remember, he's got to come all the way down the gearbox and brake hard. This is the first start he made on those option tyres. Got great grip down into that first turn. He's in first. But Dirk Werner goes round in the middle of the pack. Werner, did he get a nudge? Difficult to tell from that high-up camera. But it's Werner. We've got another car out on the grass there. That was Wehrlein, I think. And let's see them again. And Gary got excellent grip. Got in front of his teammate. See Wickens tried for the inside, but had to dive back in, and Wickens is dropping back one place, and there you see the spin, and this is the view from the Wehrlein car. And let's see if we can see what happened to Dirk Werner. He's just on your right there, actually going out your picture now. There was a bit of a bump and a ball there with Mortara. There, through that corner, and there, rotating Dirk Werner. Others had to go wide to miss him. A few bits of bodywork goes flying. There's Glock's view. He's got a hand on the outside of him, look. And there you go past Werner. It could have been about 3 or 4 BMWs wiped out in that, but fortunately all got away with it. Very quick pit stops for these drivers, deciding to change tyres straight away and go on to the yellow striped options. Here's Andy Prio, and Tomczyk spins, touches Prio. And not a happy day for Tomczyk. Not a happy day for Prio. Appears he might have a jump start. Here's a couple of more stops then. Scheider and Ekstrom. And off they go. Definitely Ekstrom is going to run a strategy which should take him a long way on the options. He's going to see how well they last, but the suggestion is that they are about, if pushed really hard, about 1.2 seconds quicker than the regular tyre. DRS, of course, now enabled, and that will be working right here for Mike Rockenfeller as he might make a move on Rob Wickens. There's Rockenfeller's team boss, Ernst Moser. Rocky can't get through this time. Paffett starting to pull away a little bit at the front. There you can see nearly everybody on the option tyres. Faces down there. Mr. Wolfgang Schattling in charge for Mercedes this weekend. Paffett leading though. Green in 3rd place. Spengler's up to 4th. There is a replay of this incident. Oh no, that's Tomczyk repassing Prio after that earlier incident. On board with Timo Glock as he comes in. Joey Hand in. BMW got to try something different here. And just gone onto the softer tyre. And now virtually everyone's on it except Farfus. Good racing here, look, Mortara pushing hard. Mortara on Juncadella for 12th and 13th places. Look how close they go to the wall. Right up against the wall from the original tri-oval Champ Car circuit. So a good little battle mid-field here. And there, the Spaniard going through, but goes wide. We'll get a warning flag for that. It's not supposed to go with all 4 wheels the other side of the white line. Mortara just avoids it. Finally, Farfus changed his tyres. Farfus coming out here. And there, the BMW's a hand. And Block. And a good move there from Ekstrom. And Ekstrom's strategy certainly moving him up the field. Ekstrom from that lowly starting position. And followed by Timo Scheider, 2 double champions together. Again, they go so close to the wall here. Well, look at that, coming out there from his pit stop, Jamie Green. And Green manages to hold it in front of Spengler. Spengler had that famous win here a year ago. Bruno Spengler, who so quickly made that transition from Mercedes-Benz to BMW. Green has taken 3 or 4 races to settle in with Audi, but certainly going well now. He's the quickest of the Audi men at the moment. Pit stop from Gary Paffett, 4.3 seconds. See Paffett coming out here against Rockenfeller. Paffett's going to be in front of Rockenfeller. So Paffett still leading. Gary setting a cracking pace here. Just so happy with the car. Remember the two previous races, he got penalties, both of them. Both, I have to say, disputable penalties in my book. Very unlucky to get those two penalties. But Paffett proving there is speed in this Mercedes, certainly around here. Tambay with a bit of a lock-up. And Tambay, second of the Audis, having a good run at the moment. Gary Paffett, though, hasn't won for over a year. Remember, last season he led the championship for much of the way, but most of his success came right at the beginning of the season. Ernst Moser again, probably giving Rocky a bit of encouragement. And certainly Rockenfeller on the same pace as Paffett. And Paffett is on the standard tyre. Rocky is on the option, but those tyres have done quite a lot of laps. And it sort of averages out. They're both doing similar lap times, but certainly Rocky putting a lot of pressure on Paffett now. Remember, he came from the third row of the grid as good move there by Juncadella. And Juncadella, this is his best showing in the DTM thus far. And Juncadella up to 6th place, moves ahead of Adrian Tambay. See that move, and you see how bumpy it is down into that first corner, and it's got bumpier through the winter. Dirk Werner, after that spin, trying to move up the field, and he's done a very good job of it. He's up at 11th at the moment. And Werner here on Wehrlein. Later on the brakes, good move, gets it absolutely spot on, and Wehrlein gets a bit of a lesson there in how to overtake at turn 1 from Dirk Werner in the second of the Schnitzer BMWs. There is Wehrlein, the that Stuttgart, and Tambay getting involved in this four-way battle now as well. Positions for the last point or so. Here is Ekstrom, and Ekstrom moving up the field. He was 13th, he's going into 12th place, and he passes Tambay in a great move. And now can he pick off the two in front of him? There is Wehrlein, the colours of the famous old football club from Stuttgart. They play in the Mercedes Stadium, and Wehrlein is a supporter. The man who still works in his father's garage in the week between races, and Ekstrom showing some of his old championship form now as he's moving up through the field. On board with Ekstrom. Ekstrom being held now by Wehrlein. Wehrlein doing a very good job of defending. Remember, this boy's only a teenager. Started the season by winning a Formula 3 race in Monza. By then he'd already had the call to join Mercedes-Benz, and this time Ekstrom shows his old skill and talent, and he passes Wehrlein, and Ekstrom moves up again. Paffett, meanwhile, still at the front, still defending from Rockenfeller as he comes in to make his pit stop and gives up the lead for the first time, but this is the second stop. And the HWA boys, beautiful shot of them there, and quicker stop this time, 3.5 seconds. Off he goes down the pit lane, and he's going to come out in front of Christian Vitoris as Rockenfeller is to come in just behind Paffett. So, moving on to the closing stages. Vitoris comes in. The standard tyre awaits. Some of these options have gone a long way. Remember, they have to run both tyres. They have to make 2 pit stops. These 470 brake horsepower, V8 powered, purebred touring car racers that are the DTM. So Rocky in the lead at the moment. I said he'd made a pit stop. No, he hasn't made that pit stop yet. It's coming up. Paffett is in front of Vitoris. Mortara hasn't stopped yet. Here comes Rockenfeller now. I preempted it a little bit, but Rockenfeller comes in. Now the big question mark is, where will Rockenfeller come out relative to Gary Paffett? And here the Phoenix racing team await. Always very good at pit stop. And they go to work, and the car not quite square on in the box, but it doesn't make any difference. And off he goes. And there is Paffett in the lead. 10 laps to go, and that is the gap. About 5 or 6 car lengths. Paffett and Rockenfeller both on the same tyres now, both with the same amount of fuel. Now Paffett is not 2 seconds ahead of Rockenfeller as Ekstrom moves up another place, trying to pass the Thomas Sabo car. Yeah, excellent drive from Ekstrom. This will bolster his confidence. As I was saying, Gary Paffett is less than 2 seconds ahead of Rockenfeller, which means that when they get on the main straight, Rocky can use the DRS system, and Gary will be mindful of that. So Gary will really have his head down, trying to bang in 2 or 3 quick laps now and see if he can get 2 seconds ahead of the charging Mike Rockenfeller, the former Porsche driver, former Le Mans winner, of course, but not competing in the big race this year. Paffett is in the lead. Juncadella challenging Spengler, challenging the champion, dives to the inside, and he makes it stick. Great move by Juncadella. This is by far the best showing in the DTM we've had from the young Spaniard, the reigning FIA Formula 3 champion. And Spengler, you'll be wondering about that and thinking Mercedes must have a very good setup here. If this young man can overtake me, that's probably the first time he's ever overtaken Bruno Spengler. This is Spengler's view, and there the red flash of the Stern car, and they appreciate it down there in the HWA garage. And he gets a thumbs up on the Mercedes-Benz perch as well, as Ekstrom continues to charge. And there with Mortara behind him now. Mortara, who was the only Audi driver to win a race last season, remember. On board, here's the Ekstrom move. Just look how the front of the car is porpoising. That's a big expression they use for that. Bumping around under the braking, and all the manufacturers' cars seem to be doing it. Vitoris then, front of Wickens, into Mercedes. 3-pointed star battle here between Vitoris and Wickens. And Paffett, out of our picture, seems to be pulling away from Rockenfeller as we see this Vitoris move. And there he goes. And the colours that JB Green used to use a couple of seasons ago. Vitoris passes Wickens for a podium position. Well, did start on the pole. Here is Ekstrom. Definitely been one of, maybe not the complete man of the match. I have to say that's Gary Paffett, but good drive certainly from Ekstrom, using the strategy where he went very early onto his final set of tyres and doing a long run now, which is working for him. Is he charging after Bruno Spengler now in the closing moments of this race? Gary Paffett is heading towards the checkered flag on another part of the circuit, but still positions being disputed here. Paffett, Rockenfeller in second place. Excellent drive up from the third row of the grid from Rockenfeller. Then Vitoris, who we just saw move past Rob Wickens and then Green and then Juncadella and Spengler and then Ekstrom and Mortara and Merry in 10th place. Again, probably his best performance in the DTM thus far, but overshadowed by his former Spaniard, fellow Spaniard, I should say, Juncadella. A little bit of debris on the track as Gary Paffett comes through turn 3 for the last time and heads towards the checkered flag to take his first victory for more than a year, to take his 20th win of his career and the first for Mercedes this year, but the 150th in the DTM. Great day for Gary Paffett. Paffett the perfect today. Rockenfeller finishes second, then it's Vitoris, then Merry, and look at this battle still continues to the line, and that's getting all a bit difficult. But no, it's Spengler who just manages to stay ahead of Ekstrom. I think there was a bit of rubbing through that corner. Oh yeah, that's what happened. A little bit of trading paint. Ekstrom down low and edged ahead for a brief second, but then Spengler just got it. But, well, good finish there for those two. Exciting stuff. But Paffett, there he is, giving Euronics their first victory in the DTM.
What an incredible season, an incredible weekend here at the Lausitzring. Wolfgang, you did a podium, you did the pole position, you did the first win of Gary Paffett, the first win of Mercedes. How happy must you? You must smile from one to the other here.
Great race of Gary, an excellent performance from the first lap on. It became a little tight in the end when Rockenfeller could get close, but afterwards Gary regained it and he really showed how dominating he can be.
3 Mercedes in the top 4. What will we see at the Norris Ring?
Let's celebrate this one and then we see what the next race brings, but we are happy with today's result. It couldn't go better.
Gary Paffett delighted. The man who lives out in the country in East Anglia these days. Look at Rocky, he's celebrating as well. And what about Christian Vitoris? There he is. Be a little bit disappointed, having started from the pole. So let's check out the final classification. Paffett from Rockenfeller. In the end, it was 6.8 seconds, really stretched out in the closing stages. Vitoris third, Wickens, Jamie Green, Juncadella, Spengler, Ekstrom, Mortara finishing in 9th. And they're 12th through 20th. Let's hear now from the race winner.
For sure you must be really happy, Gary Paffett. It's a 10th win for Mercedes here at the Lausitzring, your personal 3rd one. So it worked out that I bet my money on you before the race.
Yes, yeah, I mean, it was great. Yesterday was fantastic, obviously, but with the new rules, with the different tyres and with the DRS, yeah, nothing's ever finished until the end of the race. And it was really close in the middle of the race when Rocky was right behind me after my first stop. But then our speed, especially on the standard tyre, was incredible. At the end, I managed to pull away fairly easily, and just fantastic. The team really deserve this. They've been working so hard, and it's been really tough, the results we've had this year, but this is a perfect day, and the team, everybody really, really deserve this.
An excellent drive from Mike Rockenfeller. He's now talking with Yves Scheer.
Wow, we had an amazing race coming from P6. Now again on podium, finished P2. And I think you're again the leader of the standings. I think it's a split lead with Bruno Spengler, isn't it?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know. But it's important that I had a good race, scored some important points again. And it doesn't matter right now if you're leader, 2nd or 3rd in the championship. All it counts is at the very end. And we are far away from that. So I'm pushing from race to race. And we will see where we end up. I don't know.
So Christian Vitoris finished in 3rd place, 2nd time he's been on the podium. He wasn't that happy.
Congratulations, Christian. It's your 2nd time you're on podium. You had the pole position again, P3 like at Hockenheim. You must be incredibly satisfied.
Yeah, so and so. In Hockenheim, I was more happy about my 3rd place because we were starting pretty much at the back of the field. Well, starting here in front, you obviously want to win. But today it wasn't possible, let's say. Yeah. Gary did a fantastic job. He won the race. He's now again in front of me in the championship, which is overall good for Mercedes. We now know that the car is fast on Saturday as well, which is important for the future.
And let's check out the championship points and look at that. Rockenfeller and Spengler both now on 59 points. Paffett has moved up closer with 47. Vitoris is on 40. And it's Farfus on 33 with Whitman on 32 points. Now a chance to talk with Jamie Green. Jamie having his best drive since he joined Audi, and I think he'll be pretty happy with his performance. He too is down to the pits with Yves Scheer.
I think the strategy really was didn't really work out for us, because in the first stint on options I was stuck behind Christian Vitoris and had quite heavy tyre degradation. So we just lost pace at the end of that stint, and that stint wasn't long enough and quick enough. On standard tyres we were quite good for the second and third stint. I was able to pull away from Spengler and keep the pressure on Vitoris, but I think we lost too much in the first stint.
And what about the Spaniard Danny Juncadella? By far his best performance so far in the DTM, and he was certainly happy with that 6th place and some great overtaking.
It's great to have a 6th place here in the Lausitzring. I think I have first to thank my team, because when you have a good car, then you have the self-confidence to drive quick, and of course to go forward. And I did really good overtake maneuvers because the car felt really good. Only the start was a bit of a tight situation. I was too much in front, and I had to put the reverse gear. And when the 5 lights were on, I was still in reverse gear, and I don't even know how I made it to start. And I lost a few positions there, obviously. But then with the option tires, I played my cards. I did a good job managing the tires, and then, yeah, 6th place, it's the great thing.
He was first a year ago. How were his thoughts 12 months later?
We just struggled a little bit with pace from the free practice onwards. You know, so it was definitely not that easy for us the whole weekend, even though the team has been pushing really hard to improve the car from free practice to quali. This was an amazing work already in that little time to be able to improve the car a step forward. But then unfortunately for the race, there's nothing you can do anymore. The car is in Parc Fermé, so you live with what you have, and that's what we did. And we thought maybe during the race over the distance it would help us, it would go towards us, but it didn't really. So just a tough weekend, but you know, all the weekends cannot be like Spielberg. Spielberg was amazing, and we will bounce back, and we will. I know the team is very motivated, and I'm looking forward to Lausitzring already, to be honest, because it's my favorite track, and we will push very hard there.
And what about Matthias Ekstrom? Certainly an excellent drive from near the back of the grid for Mr. Overtaking.
I mean, I felt pretty good all the time. I mean, when you start from P18, it's not so easy to win the race, but to come up 10 places, I think it's okay. Still, you know, they get at least a few points, but most important will be to qualify in front. But at least it's enjoyable to drive with the option tires.
Yeah, well, the DTM, what an extraordinary series. A couple of weeks ago at Spielberg, it was a BMW 1-2-3 on the podium, and now we have 2 Mercedes-Benz drivers and an Audi racer on the podium. Excellent drive from Gary Paffett. Gary showing us why he's been the champion in the past. The bubbly sprays. It's a goodbye from me, Andrew Marriott, and a final word from Yves Scheer.
What an exciting race weekend here at the Lausitzring. It has been the rebirth of Mercedes here at the 4th race of the season. But we have a split lead of Audi and BMW with Mike Rockenfeller and Bruno Spengler. So it stays really thrilling for the next upcoming race at the Lausitzring. So I hope to see you again there. Have a lovely summer.